Hey guys, it's Charles and Z, and as you guessed, we're in the car, but today we're mixing it up. We're actually on the way back from Costco, and we were thinking about a topic that we've had in the hopper for a little bit, and that is how we decide what to share on YouTube, or how much of our life that we're going to share on YouTube. And so, Z, what would you say is what we use as our barometer for that?
It's a tricky subject, right? Because I feel like when you become a YouTube or a content creator, you want to come across as being authentic, right? You want to present who you fully are, right? Whether that be, your friends, maybe your family, but you also have to realize that your viewers, as appreciative as you are of them, are also strangers. And I think the majority of the people who view content mean well, but every now and then you have very odd, I guess would be a good way to say it, individuals. And you're hearing our little one in the back doing his little ABCs.
They can see him too, because he's like right
And
in
they
the
can
middle.
see him
Oh yeah.
as he's looking, who is mommy and daddy talking to? And so I think the conversation for me came to mind when we were actually making another video. And as we were making the video, I think we started to get a little bit more heated, right? As we started talking about the conversation. And I think we said a few things that we probably didn't mean to say, or they came across the wrong way.
That was when we were arguing about the new house, right?
Correct. If you guys don't know, we are getting ready to move into a new house. And so that's what the video was about. Some of the complications or obstacles we face with the new house. And a little bit of my fault. I should have viewed the video before, Charles put it out. But we eventually took down the video just because I thought it was too much. I want to provide, like I said, some genuine and authentic moments, but I think not everything needs to be privy to the public. You know what I mean?
And that one we weren't really like over disclosing about our family, like, giving more information than we should. We were just kind of fighting back and forth on that one.
Yeah. Did you think that video was an appropriate video to put out? Or could you see where I was coming from with that?
I could see where you were coming from with that. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a little raw. We were kind of tired. We were both hungry. We were probably just trying to go at each other, which on the regular we kind of go at each other. By the way, I apologize for like this little glare light that flickers in sometimes. It's because it's like a little late in the day and the sun kind of comes through. But so sometimes I feel like when we get in a mood, we'll just like kind of pick on each other, and sometimes it escalates a little bit. And that video, it was really escalated. When we were talking about the process of getting ready to move, getting ready for our new house, and all the stresses that go along with that. And so, should we have put it up? Probably not. If I would have really thought about it, what I was doing at the time was that was the video that I had recorded to put up, and we were getting ready to go out of town. We were taking our kids on a spring break vacation, and so I had to put out two videos kind of in quick succession and schedule them. And so I didn't really go through and look at that one where we were kind of fighting. I didn't look at that one really good. I just kind of like half ear open, went through and edited that one and then scheduled it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until it got up that like, some of the viewers were like, wow, you guys are
Correct.
really, this is a lot.
A lot of you guys commented,
Yeah.
and I felt that way even before the video kind of went up, was that this is a lot to have in a video. And like I said, I think you should have some authentic moments. And I think a lot of couples, right, you have your little tidbits or your little, disagreements. But once you record something and you put it out into the world for individuals to constantly pick apart or give their input, to me, I don't think that is appropriate. That's my opinion, right? And I've seen, I've been a consumer of content, and I've seen, different, I guess, social media famous couples, and the more and more that they start to put their real personal feelings or emotions out there, I feel like it can cause turbulence in a relationship. It's kind of like when they say, if you're having a disagreement with your significant other, don't tell that to family. You know what I mean? Especially if it's something small, you know what I mean? Because it's harder for your family to get over that. And they're going to constantly, have this sentiment or this feeling about your significant other, or remind you of what they did wrong, right? When for you, you've gotten over that. So I kind of use that as a, way to, it's kind of how I feel about, I think, sharing our really deep down feelings, right? That's something for you and I. And I feel like as a marriage, you should have certain things that are intimate, right? Emotions or feelings or conversations.
Let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about another aspect of this, which is how much we share of our family and of our personal information. I see a lot of YouTubers. There are like people who are YouTube families, and okay, here I'm going to see if I could successfully block this glare out. I'm going to do what I can.
I guess I'm just bright.
You're hold on. You're bright, and I'm like in the middle. Okay, so everybody knows I'm still here, even though you can't fully see me, and Z should be nice and lit
super
up.
bright. If you see me squinting, the sun's right there.
So, there are YouTube families, which I find interesting because, like people who put their whole families on YouTube and kind of the whole family is the content on YouTube, where they have kids of a certain age and they create content around that. And so random people know those kids. If they see them out and about, they're gonna like look at them as no, those are the kids from YouTube. And then a lot of these families, the kids get older and the YouTube kind of goes away because the whole idea behind the YouTube was that there was content with kids of a certain age and it clicked while those kids were of a certain age, and now they're like 20 something and it just doesn't work anymore, but then they're always going to be like those kids who were on YouTube. And I know that there are some people that Z watches who are, vloggy people like us, and they bring their kids onto camera a lot. And now what we've chosen to do is we show Baby Man because for one thing, it's a matter of convenience, because normally when we record, we're in the car and he's usually coming with us because our older kids, we drop them off at Grandpa's house when we go to shop. So you guys see him, but that's probably going to stop when he gets a little bit older, because he's 2 right now, and the way he looks when he's 2, people aren't going to recognize him from these videos when he's like 8, 9, 10. So it's not something that's going to like follow him the rest of his life.
And I think the videos will stop including him, especially as he has a larger vocabulary, right? As he starts to comprehend more conversations and the meaning. Right now he's at an age, if someone says his name, he's not just going to go to them, right? He still has a little bit of stranger danger, and he's in such an environment where there's not really going to be any opportunity for him to be by himself and a stranger approach him, right?
Right.
For his age at 2, there's always someone with him.
He's not gonna, if somebody comes up and they know his name, which I don't know if we've shared his name very often on this, but if somebody comes up and they know his name, it's not like he's gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, I'm gonna go with you.
Let me go to you, right?
No.
And like I said, there's always gonna be someone there who knows him and takes responsibility for him to protect him at this age.
Right.
Now, for our older children who are 8 and 7, they may be at a school event or a field trip, and I wouldn't want someone to say their name and say, hey, come with me, I know your parents. And for them, I think they're pretty smart, but they might be a little confused, like, oh, that is my parents' name, and you do know them, maybe something did happen, maybe I should go with you, right? As much as we talk to them about staying away from strangers and what that protocol looks like. So I feel like just for safety wise, that's why I don't want to include my children.
Right.
And we choose to be content creators, and our children didn't agree to that, right? And I feel like for our content, we're parents as a part of who we are, as long as our jobs and, being individuals. But I don't think it is a necessity to have our children a part of our videos. And I don't knock those YouTubers, right, who like to have their kiddos in their videos. I watch some of them. It's just something I don't think was, I don't think it was something that I wanted to do for our children. Everyone can parent differently, okay? Yeah. No judgment.
Yeah, because I feel like our channel is mostly for people who like putting on the video and listening to the two of us yak for 15, 20 minutes.
And that's really why I wanted to start our video, right? I wanted us to talk out our feelings. I thought we have very different perspectives, and I think we both like to chitty chat. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a little bit cathartic,
Yeah.
It's kind of like my therapy a little bit sometimes, talking out my thoughts. And I love hearing input from other individuals too. So, my children definitely did not need to be, or do not need to be a part of that. We love talking about them,
sure,
because they're hilarious. But I don't know.
Well, and also one other thing that I was thinking of is the fact that our kids don't necessarily know that we have a YouTube channel. We don't let them watch our videos because a lot of the things that we've talked about on videos are things that they're not privy to, are things that we've not shared with them. Some of the things about
What have we talked about?
before their mom passed and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
they're just not, we will eventually have some of these conversations, but you also have to think what is age appropriate. And that's another reason I don't share their names. I don't want, if there happens to be a mom or a dad that watches our video, hey, do you know what they said about your grandpa? Or, it's just not, because not everyone has the emotional maturity to know when and in what context to say things. And I'd rather our children know from us than a stranger, or, you know what I mean? So I don't want to create a really weird situation for them, and then they come back to us, crying or confused. I think that would be
We saw your mom say this on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I don't want to create that kind of environment for them. So I'd rather we talk about them. Sometimes you may see the back of them or hear their voices. And unfortunately, this one, he's becoming a chatty patty. So soon he will have to
He's waving.
disappear. Say hi. And
tell about the one that you follow and what happened out in public.
So there's a YouTuber, I love watching her videos, and she just talked about, I think she was at a store somewhere, and one of the viewers of her channel, she said she saw them, like her mother-in-law spotted them, and she was looking at them weird because they were looking at her weird. And then they went into the store, and I guess instead of approaching her, they called her child by name. And she got really upset by that, and understandably so, right? If you know me, you're watching my channel, and if you recognize my children, address me first, because I don't know if you're trying to lure my child in. My child is confused. Out of courtesy, out of respect, talk to me first. But then she had feedback when she kind of told this story that, hey, this is a little bit of your doing, right? You put your children and their names out there. You don't have control in who is viewing your content. And hopefully they're all respectable, but, not everyone's going to be that way.
I think that's kind of a, if you're making a living doing this, if this is what's feeding your kids, then maybe there's a different way to look at it. Like, okay, so we're kind of.
I don't think she's wrong. Like, it's a part of what she decides to share. Like I said, she's not I don't think she's harming her children. She said if that was to occur again or similar situations, then she wouldn't, share the name or the faces of her children. She's been doing this for years, by the way, and she seems to be doing okay.
Yeah.
There's no other scenarios like that.
I feel like you gotta be making a lot of money and off of YouTube and see your children as being vital to your content before like you want to like make your children part of your content. To me.
Well, you got to start small, right? So I'm sure they didn't start off being lucrative. I do think she probably makes good income, for their household from her YouTube. So it's something she would probably want to continue with. But it just made me think, were the viewers right? Who said it was kind of her fault? Is that the kind of predicament that you're putting your kids in?
Let us know below. Let us know in the comments. Do you think we're making the right decision to not share, not put our 8 and 7-year-old on camera? Do you think that people who are doing that are jeopardizing their kids, or is it just, in this day and age where there's pictures of everybody floating around everywhere, is AI? Is it naive to think that, you're protecting your children by not putting them on YouTube?
I mean, I'm interested in hearing what the opinions are. Granted, we're not going to change. My kiddos are not, especially my older kiddos, are not going to be on the channel. But I am interested to hear about the other parents, or whether you're a parent or not. What is your opinion about this?
Yeah. Hey, baby man. Baby man, can you say bye-bye? Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye. On that note, we will talk to you guys later.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying our videos, don't forget,
like and subscribe below.